Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions, and this is for the chapter Living World, and this video is about part 3. So people, those who haven't checked your part 1 and part 2, please go check in so that you'll get the mode. Fine. Now let's go to the first question. See, this question is a statement. This was asked in the year 1994. Let's read the statement here. Taxonomy without phylogeny is similar to bones without flesh. Okay, so it's a statement. So this statement, if you see, was made by Taxonomy. Okay, he was the one who made this statement. So the answer to this question is option C. Now you can ask me, who is this Taxonomy? Taxonomy he's actually a botanist. Okay, he's actually a botanist, and he's one of the most important figures in the 20th century. He has done a lot of research in plant physiology and plant evolution. He has made research, and he has done a lot of work in plant evolution and systematics of the plant. He studied, and his favorite books and his book collections include diversity and classification of flowering plants. So all his work was in plant system. Okay, so who made this statement was option C. Taxonomy made this statement saying that taxonomy without phylogeny is similar to bones without flesh. Okay, so now let's move to the next question. Look at the second question. Binomial nomenclature means. So this question is a repetition in this whole chapter. If you see here, they are asking us about binomial nomenclature. This question was asked in the year 1993. People, those who have checked part 1 and part 2 will be able to answer this. As I already said, bi means two parts. Bi means two. So here if you see, a binomial system has two parts, and any scientific name will have two parts, right? The first part will be the genus and the second part will be specific epithet, or you can call it as species. So here the correct answer is option B. Okay. Binomial nomenclature means a scientific name of any organism. It can be any living organism, right from the tiniest to the highest. So it doesn't matter all that. But here if you see, when I say two parts, the first part will be the genus and the second part will be specific epithet. So let's take an example for this. Let's take an example. Let's consider Plasmodium vivax. Okay, this is a protozoan, a Malarian parasite. So here if you see, the first part Plasmodium is the name of the genus and vivax is the species name. So this is a very good example to tell you that any scientific name will have two parts. Okay, so the correct answer to this question is option B, one scientific name consisting of generic and specific epithet. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Okay, this is once again a simple question. Linnaeus is credited with. This question was asked in the year 1993. I think we all know the answer. Yes, it is binomial nomenclature. We already spoke about it a lot in the part 1 and part 2. Binomial nomenclature was a system that was devised by Carolus Linnaeus. He started this method of naming because it will be easy for us to do any research purpose and study purpose. So classification is very important because it will facilitate us to detect if any unknown organism are left. Okay, so the main scenario of using this binomial nomenclature is because this is universal. Okay, it is a universal system. So everybody follows this system, and since it is universal, everybody has a common idea about the scientific names. Okay, so the correct answer to this question is binomial nomenclature. Okay, option A. Now let's move on to the next question. Okay, the term phylum was given by. This question was asked in the year 1992. Here if you see, before we go into the answer directly, we should know what is phylum. I think you would have understood what is phylum by now. Phylum is also called as division. We all know phylum is also called as division. It is one among the classification mode that we have. We have the classification tree, right? It starts from the lowest unit, that is the species, and it moves forward. Now, what is phylum if you ask me? It is the class comprising animals like fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, along with mammals. They constitute the next higher category called as phylum. And all these are based upon the common features like the presence of the notochord or dorsal haloneural system. So here if you see, when I say phylum, you go interior, right? When I say chordata, one which has notochord, one does not have a notochord. So here in this case we have taken characters that are assigned to a higher category. Phylum or division both mean the same. So this term phylum was given by option B is the correct answer. It was given by Ernest Haeckel. Okay, so option B is the right answer. So now you can ask me, who is this Ernest Haeckel? He is the person who devised the term phylum, and to tell more about him, he is he started his work in the year 1866. He's way back in that case, and he's done a lot of work in researching the living organisms. Whatever he has isolated, and he went into the classification system little deep, and he started working on it. So that is how the term phylum got into practice. So to your right side you can see the image of Ernest Haeckel. He is the one who devised the term phylum. Okay, so the answer to this question is option B, Haeckel. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. This is a very easy question. Yeah, sequence of taxonomic categories is, so we all know that it starts from the lowest unit of classification and ends to the highest. So we just need to know the the order, right? So it starts from species, then it will move on to, let's go in the backward. It will start with species, then it will move to genus, then it will move to family, order, class, division. Okay, so division will be your first part. So out of the 4 options given here, so which one you think will be the right one? The correct answer is option C. So here if you see, you have species, genus, tribe, family, order, class and division. We have started from the lowest unit and we have ended up with the highest unit. So with the discovery of more and more organisms, it sometimes become difficult to adjust an organism to the traditional categories. See, any organism that anybody invents, they have to fit into this classification. It is very important because every living organism is named. Therefore, when someone studies about it or if someone needs it for further research, there is no need of searching. There's no waste of time. So anything which is found or which has to be found, they'll all come and fit into this classification system. So here if you see, the order is given here. See, tribe we may or may not use. Tribe is nothing but the same family pattern only. But here they have clearly told you what is this thing here. So here if you see species, genus, family, order, class and division. So this is a modern day classification that we use. Tribe is somewhat similar to family. So you don't have to be confused of what is this tribe. Okay, so it is somewhat similar to family only. So they have left out tribe in the further classification system that we are using currently. So the correct answer to this question is option C. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Look at this question. This question was asked in the year 1991. The important criterion for modern day classification. See, when I say modern day classification and Linnaeus classification, they don't have much difference. Okay, modern day classification, it was actually the system that is following the steps of Carolus Linnaeus only. Okay, in the 18th century, Carolus Linnaeus published the system of classification. We all know that, right? Later on, as years went by, this classifying system has been developed into modern day classification. In the previous slide, we saw certain things were added, certain things were deleted. So this modern day classification is almost the copy of Carolus Linnaeus system only. Still now we are even using binomial system, but slight changes. In the previous slide we saw about the tribe, right? You remember tribe is something that we don't use now. So modern day classification has something to do in internal parts. That is, it goes further deep and it will uh, gather information. Okay, so here if you see, the correct answer to this question is, can anybody guess? It is anatomical and physiological traits. I told you in the very beginning it is internal, it's going quite deep. So it is anatomical and physiological traits. Okay, modern day classification is new systematics or biosystematics. They're all similar, which includes all characteristics of organisms. See, initially when they started classifying, they did not go much deep into the structure or the morphology, because there at that time classification and naming system was given more importance. But now if you see, when it comes to modern day classification, we also take in touch the anatomical and the physiological traits also into account, so that we can further classifying them, and we will make it more easier for the people who study and research. Okay, so this is the main reason of modern day classification. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Linnaeus evolved a system of nomenclature called as, we all know the answer, it is binomial. We've already spoke about this binomial system a lot. So this answer, I think it is straightforward. The answer to this question is option C, binomial. Okay, so the first scientific attempt to name the organism with polynomial nomenclature which was considered. See, poly means many. Okay, don't have to get confused. Poly means many. But this system of polynomial nomenclature was not into practice. It soon failed, because imagine a system, imagine an organism which has too many names. It will be confusing, right? So later on they started this binomial system which has two parts, and therefore it is easy for anybody to read and understand and to keep in remembrance. Okay, fine. Let's move on to the next slide. Here if you see, the next question was asked in the year 1990. Basic unit or smallest taxon of taxonomy in classification. Yes, we all know the answer to this question. Any classification will start from the very basic part. So the lowest unit of classification, or the basic part of classification, or the basic unit of classification, you will call it as species, right? So the correct answer to this question is option A, species. If you see here, species is a basic unit for understanding taxonomy. See, only if you know from the minute result, from the minute information till the highest, only then it will be easy for you to understand things. You just can't straight away start from the higher level. See, only when you start knowing things from the basic level, you will understand things. So this species, if you see, it is a basic unit of understanding taxonomy here. It occupies a key position in classification. So it is very important we start from the lower to the higher position. Okay, fine. Next question. Now look at this question. The term new systematics was introduced by dash. Okay. Now what does this new systematics tell you? I'll tell you. Okay. See, when I say new systematics, this will emphasize the difference, and see, it will emphasize the difference. I will explain you in detail. To emphasize the difference, this new systematic system was started with a newer approach. Okay, this concept of new systematics, if you see, it considers a species to the product of evolution. Okay, it takes in consideration with everything. The main concept is only that it takes in consideration of all the known characteristics of the organism and all the known evidence from different fields of biology. Okay, it's a collection of everything about the organism. Okay, this system of new systematics was introduced by Julian Huxley. Okay, the correct answer to this question is option C, Julian Huxley. I've clearly told you what is new systematics. So this person actually the term new systematics was given by Julian Huxley in the year 1940. So here if you see, you collect everything, the characteristic of any organism. Here they have exclusively mentioned for plants, but now if you see, this new systematics are even carried out for animals. Okay, fine. So the correct answer to this question is option C. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Which one of the following is not a correct statement? Okay, this is a very simple question. You have to read each statement and see which one is wrong. Look at the first statement. Botanical gardens have collection of living plants for reference. Of course, this is correct. You all have seen in botanical gardens, they have a collection of living plants, and this will tell you. You might have seen different plants. You might have come across different plants which you haven't seen in your day-to-day life. A museum, next statement. A museum has a collection of photographs of plants and animals. But do you think a museum will only have photographs? No. We have lot more in museum, right? We will have fossils, we will have photographs, we will have many objects. I think this option is wrong. Let's go further. Let's see option C. Key is a taxonomic aid for identification of specimens. This is a right one. Herbarium houses dried, pressed, and preserved plant specimens. Of course, herbarium is a very important thing that many schools and even government takes a step to do it, because some plants have gone as extinct. So before they go into extinct, they will collect them and they will dry them and they will stick it as images in your books, and they will preserve it so that in the future generations people come to know that such plants have been there in this world. So the correct statement, okay, which is actually wrong, if you see, the museum has collection of photographs of plants and animals, is the answer to this question. Okay, why? If you see, a museum is not just a collection of photographs. As you all know, it is a collection of fossils. You have different objects. You have so many other things also in museum. So the correct answer to this question is option B. So here they have clearly told you what a museum contains actually. Biological museums are generally set up for educational purposes. People will come, see, understand, they will come to know what all have been in this world, in this universe. They'll come to know many new things, and this will make them more interesting to study. Right? They will have a lot of specimens also in a museum where they will store them, and you can see them visually. Right? So this is the answer for this question, option B. Fine. With this, we complete the chapter Living World. We've completed all the 3 parts. So have a look and do prepare for your exams. Thank you.